Well, if you thought things couldn't get any more chaotic, we clearly didn't think that July 21st was going to be a day that all of it would come to a head. It's a very difficult day. It's a very emotional day. I'm going to break this whole thing up into two parts because there were two very different organizations, two very different announcements that went down on July 21st, which is today. I'm recording this in the afternoon. There's still information coming out. I'm going to do my best to look at this 360. I'm just going to do my best. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to focus on UIL. We're going to focus on their announcement. I am fully aware of the whole Bands of America cancellation. That's going to be something I'll touch on later in the week. Those are two very different situations. They're two very different announcements. It would be irresponsible of me to clump them all together in one long recording. They each deserve their own attention. There are different emotions. There are different vibes between both. They need to kind of be separated and given their own time. So I will do that. We're going to focus on UIL today. We're going to go over their announcement that they made, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to say. So the next couple of minutes could be pretty interesting. With that being said, good morning again. Daniel Valdez again. It's a pleasure and honor to talk to you, whether you're listening on the YouTube channel or any place you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, all hosted on Anchor.fm. Thanks, Anchor.fm, for hosting my stupid show. So let's get after it. Breaking news. The University Interscholastic League has delayed football activities, and we'll focus mainly on the marching band activities. Essentially, delayed marching band activities with a new set of calendar dates and some more guidance and some other stuff. So, as of right now, the UIL Texas State Marching Band Championships, the road to state, as of right now, is still on. So, let's take a look at the dates, shall we? September 7th is the first day to learn drill. Remember, August 1st used to be, that was the day, August 1st, Happy Marching Band Day, Texas Marching Band Day. You learn your drill. You can start learning your drill and your choreography for your contest show. We've moved that back 1 month. So, September 7th, you can start learning your contest drill. That's the first day you learn your contest drill. December 3rd, your even-numbered conferences have to have their region contests done. So 2A, 4A, 6A. Remember, state contest, it alternates year to year. So the even numbers go this year. 2A, 4A, 6A state contest. Even numbers, the region contest, they got to be done by December 3rd. December 10th, the even-numbered conferences have to have their area contests done. The odd-numbered conferences, 3A and 5A, that's their region deadline. So they're breaking it up by conferences here, depending on how depending on who's going to actually compete at state and who's just going to make it to area. Remember, everybody does area contests this year. December 12th, the 3A and 5A contest, they will, that's their deadline for their area contest. December 12th, yes, we're pushing it like way back. I'm going to get to that in a second. So 3A, 5A, you're going to do your area contest, you got to do it by then. December to be announced, we don't know when, sometime in December, the Texas State Marching Band Championships presented by the University Interscholastic League. Let's talk a little bit more about the contest schedules. I'm going to trust me, I'm just going to go over some basic stuff, some stuff that was outlined, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. As far as the contest schedule goes, region executive committees can combine regions if there is limited participation. Think about that. If there's limited participation, you can combine regions. Now they cannot, and you can do the same thing with area. The area executive committees can combine areas, but they cannot compete directly against each other. The example that was used in the release was if Area B and Area C have so few participants, pause for dramatic effect, if Area B and Area C have so few participants, they can have their contests at the same site on the same day. But as far as advancement to the state contest, they cannot compete against each other. It's not like, okay, we're going to combine Area B and C and we're going to make this super mega conglomerate area contest. It doesn't work that way. Area B, Area C can perform at the same site, but the results have to be completely separate. Makes sense? Great. Essentially, they cannot be evaluated against each other. As far as rehearsals go, August 1st through September 6th, you can do fundamentals whether the school is in session or not. You don't necessarily have to be in school between that time period for there to be summer band camps, and I put that in quotes because usually summer band camps happen in July. Now, keep in mind, there are certain counties in this state, there are certain districts in this state that said, hey, we don't want you at school. I don't care if you want to come inside to use the bathroom. You're not coming to school because we can't guarantee your safety yet. So that's what's going on. So that's something to consider as well. But for schools or districts that, haven't put those guidelines down or anything like that, and there's no restrictions on it, then you can do your fundamental rehearsals. Of course, social distancing is recommended during that. A big thing to remember in this whole thing, this whole announcement. None of the scheduling stuff, none of the rehearsals, hey, you can go do summer band until this, none of this stuff overrides local health authority guidelines. So if the county your school is in says, hey, we don't want anybody at school, there's no extracurricular activities, nothing, or the district says, hey, there's no extracurricular activities, that's the way it goes. The UIL is just giving just an overview. These are just overviews, these are just guidelines. Of course, it's going to be left up to the districts. This is something I've been saying for months. It's going to be left up to the districts. It's going to be left up to the counties. It's going to be left up at the local level, since the state is so freaking huge and people have different ways of handling a pandemic. I'm trying not to be... I'm doing my best here, okay? The local level is going to be the ones to determine who gets to participate in marching band or not. As far as football games go, there were guidelines on football games of what the guidelines of what to expect and what to enforce and whatnot. Basically, football face coverings are required. 10 feet away from the band. Don't get within 10 feet of the band because you don't want to be anywhere near them right now. Social distancing within the band, of course, is suggested. Spectators are allowed at UIL events up to a 50% capacity. So UIL sanctioned events, that's your football games, that's region contests, that's area contests, that's state contests, if we even get that far, 50% capacity. And there's all sorts of social distancing things, groups no larger than 10, and then you got to space them out in the stadium, and then you got to tape off. Well, you don't have to, but it's recommended that you tape off every other row so that people aren't sitting next to each other, or on top of each other, behind each other, and all that stuff. And you shouldn't have the seating in consecutive rows. That's kind of goes off with the whole taping thing. So that's basically it. So the UIL's announcement this week, the one we were anticipating, the one we were like, okay, is this going to be it? We're just moving things backwards a month. And then we don't have a date for the state marching championships. Nobody wants this activity to thrive and grow more than me. I've been a fan of it. I've been a marching member many years ago. I've followed this activity ever since then. I've been involved in music pretty much my entire natural life. I want to see this activity go on. Trust me, there are very few things that make me happier than going to a marching contest and screaming my head off and watching and listening to amazing performances. I don't know that this is the right decision. Like I said last week, this whole thing feels so trivial to talk about. Look at the schedule. September 7th, first day to learn drill. That's 7 weeks away. 7 weeks to get this right. When we've had since March to get this right. And we haven't got it right. This state in particular. The state that keeps, breaking records in all the wrong categories. Seven weeks to get this right. There are a lot of districts, and there are going to be more. There are districts that have already said, "Hey, we're not competing. We're not going to be competing in events. We don't feel it's safe to travel. We don't feel it's safe to teach a competitive show." This whole thing is not black and white either. This is not one of those things where it's like, hey, we either have to do a full-on competitive show and ignore social distancing guidelines. We have to ignore everything, or we don't do marching band at all. At the same time, it's like I don't want to say we want our cake and eat it too. I don't know if that's possible here. Yeah, you can have a contest and people could go out and we'll have the socially distanced programs and everything. But are you telling me it's less valuable if we don't have the competition? Are you telling me marching band's worthless if we don't have the competition? I disagree. At UIL contests, at every single UIL contest, every single state marching band championship I've ever been to, every conference, and I've been to what feels like hundreds of them, it is the diligent work of these students, not a trophy or a medal, that truly makes them champions. These students have already won. Even though contests are getting canceled and plans are being put on hold and trips are getting canceled and refunds are being issued and parades are being canceled, these kids are already heroes for having to deal with being inside this entire time, for looking up at their parents and their parents are shrugging at them like saying, "Hey man, I don't know what to do. We've never had anything like this before." These marching members are already champions. They're already heroes. They already have the gold medal. Can we have marching band this year? Yes, it's going to look weird. It's going to look weird. It's going to be distanced. It's going to look absolute. If aliens landed on this planet and they said, "Show us your marching band tapes for the last 5 years," and we show that to them, they're going to wonder what the hell happened in 2020. They're going to want to know what happened. And we're not going to be able to understand them because we don't speak alien languages. I don't even think Google Translate has that in there. They probably do. We can still do marching band, But we don't have to add this giant competitive thing to it. I don't think that's necessary. I think you can do a socially distanced program. I think you can try to be as creative as you possibly can and try to create an entertaining experience for whoever's in the crowd. But to add this layer of competitiveness that requires travel, we know what competition does to people. I've been a part of that. I've been a part of that as a marching member. I know what it's like to go out onto the field every day and say, I cannot wait until this Saturday, because we're going to crush it. I know exactly what that feels like. Right now, with how things are going in this state, with how things are going in this country, I don't know if you have to add that layer of competitiveness to this whole thing. It is the diligent work, not a trophy or a medal, that truly makes them champions. I have always believed that. I will continue to believe that. I don't think you need the competitive aspect to this. I think you put on an entertaining show for the football crowd, whoever's there, if they're allowed in there. It says 50%, but hey, who knows? Who knows what 7 weeks can bring? Adding a competitive aspect to the fall 2020 marching season in the middle of a pandemic I don't think this is the right decision. I don't think this is the right decision. A couple of things real quick. For the programs that decided a week or two ago to go ahead and say, you know what, we're not going to be able to compete this year. Due to safety reasons, we're just not able to compete. Those districts, those fine arts coordinators should be applauded and championed for making tough decisions. Do you know how hard it is to go to perennial state finalists, to go to nationally recognized programs and say, we're not going to let you compete this year? That's insanely difficult to do. Those districts need to be championed. Those districts need to be applauded. They do not need your vitriol. They do not need your angry letters. They do not need your angry face emojis. They don't need it. They made a decision based on the information that was available, and that's what they're going with. And this whole UIL announcement, that puts pressure on them. That puts pressure on those fine arts coordinators and those directors as well, because now you're going to have parents go up to them and say, well, look, you've got 7 weeks. We can get everything right. Why not? You're telling me we can't put together a contest show then? So now they've got to deal with that. And it makes them look incompetent, and they're not. They put their kids' safety first. I don't understand how that's a bad thing. I really hope this works out one way or another, but I'm scared to death. I'm genuinely frightened. Because you add this competitive aspect to the marching band thing, and I've seen it. I've seen it from parents. I've seen it from students, and all these years covering the activity. People go over the top with it. I don't know if this is the right decision. The competitive aspect in the middle of a pandemic seems trivial. It seems trivial. I don't. I just hope that seasons, that those who decide to go, and God bless you, those who decide to field a competitive show and put yourselves out there, my heart is with you and my well wishes are with you. Trust me, I don't want to see any of you hurt. I don't want to see any of you sick. That's the last thing I want. I hope that proper precautions are taken if you decide to go forward with this. I don't want the headline to read, marching band season canceled, several kids test positive. That's the last thing I want to see. I don't want to see. Why are we gambling with kids' lives here? Why are we gambling with teacher safety? Why are we gambling with kids' safety here? This competitive aspect, it seems unnecessary. It seems unnecessary. I also think that football is taking marching band for a ride. And I don't think marching band gets a seatbelt. I'm sure the football team's going to get tested. Is the marching band going to get tested? No, we have to self-evaluate. We got to take our own temperatures. That's the thing that really irks me about this whole thing. It feels like people in the state want football so bad. And I get it. It's an outlet for a lot of kids, and a lot of kids have they have their futures riding on this stuff. I get it. But as football goes, so does the marching band. And we can release guidelines and we can put social distancing and all that stuff. But this whole competitive aspect to the fall 2020 season, I don't know if that's the correct decision. In fact, it's probably not. I don't want this to be confused with we should just cancel marching band entirely. Nobody picks up any instruments until there's a vaccine. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the competitive aspect of this seems very unnecessary. So we delay. We push back. We give ourselves 7 weeks to try to get this right. So I don't know. Maybe this will get the numbers down. Maybe this will get the numbers down. Governor of Arkansas held up a damn football and said, if you want football this year, you got to wear your mask. And if we have to, I don't know, man. I think we can have a marching season without the competitive aspect to it. I think we can have that. The competitive aspect of this, I don't know. I don't really know what we're doing here with that. And that's assuming things get better. What if they get worse? I hope they don't. I really hope they don't. But we'll see. Clearly, this is something that a lot of people were not expecting today. There's a lot of emotion behind it. I know these decisions aren't easy. I know these decisions take time. We'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I don't wish any ill will on anybody. It doesn't matter what you decide to do this season. You're going to do what you're going to need to do, and what I have to say is of little, if not no importance. Whatever you decide to do, whether you decide to go, full-on competitive or whatever, and keep in mind, social distancing is still in effect. That's still highly recommended. You're still recommended to wear face masks and all that stuff. None of that stuff went out the window. But I've seen what competition does. Competition can bring out the best in people. I've seen it bring out the worst in people. And you combine that with pandemic and the lockdown and the opening back up and then another lockdown and no toilet paper in the damn aisles. It feels like too much. So we'll see how it goes. 7 weeks, right? Whatever you all decide to do, I wish you well. I wish you good luck. I wish you good health. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. I'm very concerned right now. I don't want to see kids sick. I don't want to see parents sick. I don't want to see staff members sick. We can do this without the competitive aspect. I don't know what we're doing with the competitive aspect here. Knowing everything we know. I'm done here. I will talk to you in a couple of days. We'll talk about the BOA, the Bands of American Music for All cancellations. Again, it's a completely different story. It's an entirely different emotion. And that's all I've got to say. I will talk to you soon. Take care. Adios. Bye-bye.